We'll just give everyone else a few minutes to get organized. I know a lot of people registered for today, but life gets busy, so there is going to be a recording of this as well. So I want to welcome everyone to the future of medical innovation. We are Nuvior, and Nuvior is a fast growing company. And at the moment, we distribute to Canada, and to distribute to all of North America with amazing. And here at Nuvior, we harness that global way of thinking so we can bring you Canadians the best the world has to offer and help you grow and be successful with your business. Our brands at Nuvior are our brands for a reason. Firstly, we have our Aptos thread lifting methods. Apto is a 6-time world winner of aesthetic medicine congress. Every year they win for the best suspension thread lifts. And we are so proud to tell you that by the end of the year, you will be able to purchase new Aptos thread lifts for the Canadian market. We also have our high tissue PRP device. This by far is the easiest and the most effective PRP system I've ever been in contact with. It's easy to use. It gives you high concentrations of platelets, and it is used by the medical and cosmetic world across the world. And of course, here at Nuvior, we want to be your one-stop shop. So we have guaranteed lowest price shopping for medical supplies. So take a look at your invoices. If there's something that you want and you don't see on our site, please let us know because we have thousands of different SKUs and it does take us a bit to load them all. So we will source out what you need and we will ensure that we give you the best possible pricing available. We want to be your one-stop shop. And of course, the two amazing skincare lines that Nuvio represent include Dermaceutic Laboratory. Now, this is not a very wide-ranging line with billions of products. This is a small, concise line with optimal ingredients at the best concentration to give you support for all of your medical aesthetic needs. So whether you are offering facials and peels and microneedling, or if you offer ablative light-based treatment and RF energy, Dermaceutic Laboratory has that consistent product line that's going to help you prep that skin, support that treatment, and enhance those treatment results and not interfere with your primary lines. It's a beautiful support line. And of course, who we're talking about today, Meso Aesthetic. This is the market leader in medical cosmetics. They have been around for almost 40 years now, providing effective solutions that are based in science and made to be global, which means it's for all skin colors. So today we are going to talk about some amazing offering from Mesoaesthetic. And our host for today, I'd like to introduce the fabulous Luis Hernandez. He is a great, valuable asset to New York, a nurse and educator. He brings his experience as a clinic owner as well as his chemical engineering background to provide you support in anything you need in the downtown core. Hi, Luis. Welcome to our weekly
Everyone,
webinar.
thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. And I, of course, am Pina Lee, your clinical lead. I am just busting to share my knowledge. So please reach out to us. We can be there live if it is convenient and geographically sound. If not, we can set up a one-on-one session, and we really want to help you grow. And without further ado, let's bring you cosmelan. Now, cosmelan solution, a method for those clients who are looking to rejuvenate. It is brought to you by the experts in depigmentation. As I said, they have over 39 years in this industry. Cosmelan was developed to treat pigmentation back in the 90s and since been reformulated. And now we are bringing you the new reformulated cosmelan to Canada as of January 2024. So before we tackle pigmentation, let's take a little bit of a dive into what is skin pigmentation. Now, we all have melanin. We all have the same amount of number of melanocytes. And these little melanocytes are those beautiful little factories that are located in the basal layer of our epidermis. So they are in the scope of practice for estheticians. And these beautiful melanocytes, they produce melanin, this pigment that is used in our body to create the color of our skin, our hair, our eyes, even the color of our fingernails and everything else in between. Every part of our body has melanin, and it's the size and the activity level of that melanin that gives us our color. Whether it is melanin, which is that brown black color, or that phenylalanine, which is that red. When we put that all together, it creates us. And the function of melanin isn't just to give us our color, but it is for protection. Melanin protects that cellular DNA from damage from UV. And that's in nature. But in our present world, it also protects us from the damage from high visible emitting light. These protect our skin from allowing burns to not happen, as well as that cellular damage. So we know in the sun, the lighter you are, the more sun damage easier it's going to happen, because that melanin isn't as big or as active as that in a darker skin. And that also plays a part when we talk about treatments. So how do these pigmentations occur? Regularly, our melanogenesis process produces pigment to keep our color the same. However, sometimes things go wrong and we end up with larger spots or darker areas of pigmentation. So when we talk about melanin in general, again, it's a process. Something affects that process, and it starts with an enzyme. Every function in the body starts with a little party from that enzyme. And that enzyme here is tyrosinase, and it is going to bond with trypsin, which is an amino acid. And in that oxidation process, melanin is basically created. And then within that melanosome of that melanocyte, it starts to rise and transfer from that factory in that epidermis up through the different layers of the skin to those keratinocytes or skin cells. So the more active that factory is, the more melanin it will produce and deliver to the layers of skin of that epidermis. Once that melanin starts to accumulate in that upper layer of the epidermis, that stratum corneum, it is going to be visible. It's going to be dark and uneven. And then when that existing melanin is exposed to different triggers, whether it's the sun, whether it's UV in your overhead lights, or that blue light from your devices, it is going to become even darker and more concentrated, and thus creating those hyperpigmentation issues. And when you want to understand what they look like, they're split up into melanin-based pigmentation categories. The first is our solar, our photo damage from the sun, and they are photo or solar senile lentigens, and they usually appear on those places of our bodies that have been exposed to the sun. So our hands, our faces, our neck, and in some cases back and décolleté, even our legs. So this kind of pigmentation, just as you've been told through your education, it will come back to haunt you. So all that sun accumulation that we did in our youth is exactly that. It accumulates just like sand in a jar. And then when we age and our other cellular functions start to slow down, that evidence comes out more on our skin. I know myself before I became an esthetician, and I know Luis, you growing up in Colombia, it was the same way. We used to live and laugh and play in the sun. And now for myself, all those sins are coming back to haunt me. So this is something that everyone over the age of 30 and higher is going to start seeing. And as I said, it will appear on those areas of your face and body that are exposed. Now, post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation, or also known as PIH, it is from a secondary condition. So, for example, you had acne. I know I had acne, and my acne was there for years. And then after that, the darkness and the redness that came with it. It also comes from burns or improperly conducted procedures, whether it's waxing or chem peels, laser treatments. You can have post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation on anywhere on the body or face. Of course, it is a risk for any skin, but more common in that darker skin type or higher photo skin type. When we talk freckles, freckles go in and out of style throughout history. And freckles, they are most frequently associated with that lighter skin color. That melanin comes up in little spots rather than even. But of course, like any melanin pigmentation, when you are in the sun, they will get darker. And that's why you see them more in those summer months. As we age, they also, too, we become stronger. And then, of course, we have melasma. Melasma is that pigmentation that cannot be cured. It's a pigmentation disorder that we must learn to live with and control, and it be visible on the top. So when you are dealing with a client or patient who has melasma, you need to explain it to them that it's just like having a chronic disorder like diabetes or thyroidism, where now you have to adapt your life to that condition. So how does it look on a body? Well, it's usually even. It's associated with women because 90% of us do get affected by it. However, it is also prone in men. because of different kinds of medications, especially ones that deal with your hormones. So those triggering factors that will make it darker, again, the sun, again, when our hormones are out of whack, stress and how we live our life will definitely have a large impact on how melasma will appear on the skin. And with all of these treatments that we're dealing with pigmentation, we always have to ensure that what we're treating isn't something suspicious. We are trained to be on the lookout for melanoma that is changing on your clients. Please refer them to their medical specialists to deal with it. And of course, when you are talking about dealing pigmentation, you need to know your limits. Cosmelan is a spectacular treatment for melanin-based pigmentation. However, it is not indicated for raised pigmentation like your um, fibromas or your NDPs or skin tags. It is not going to do a vascular based issue like a spider vein or your angioma. However, it does deal with that vascular component of pigmentation with your post-inflammatory erythema. And for those that suffer from vitiligo or any form of hypopigmentation disorders, unfortunately, cosmelan is not the treatment for it. But while it will do, it will get that pigmentation that lays in that epidermis. So you want to know where that pigmentation lays. All melanin-based pigmentation in the epidermis is treatable with cosmelan. For that deep down dermal pigmentation, we do have our Dermamelan medical solution for that kind of condition. And one thing you need to know about Cosmelan, it is a 6-month depigmentation method, which is going to combine with your 6-month protocol. And this entire system is your Cosmelan treatment. And it is amazing because not only is it going to be corrective, it's going to go beyond that traditional treatment that all other treatments for pigmentation do. It doesn't just eliminate and correct, it goes down into those basal layer and does that regulating of the melanogenesis process. And as I mentioned, it is effective on all skin colors from your phototypes 1 all the way to 6. And with the new reformulation of Cosmelan, it is even safe for a sensitive skin if they're properly prepared for treatment. But with the reformulation of Cosmelan, not only does it even more effectively combat that pigmentation, but it also is a powerful anti-aging treatment, especially for skins that are suffering with melasma. And like always, Mesoaesthetic provides that in vitro and in vivo studies to support and the efficacy of this treatment. So what has improved? Well, the idea of Cosmelan is still the same. It's going to professionally manage, control, and clear your existing pigmentation. But we have updated the protocols. We have added revolutionary ingredients to our formula and made it easier to prescribe to your clients and for the clients to follow. One of the most exciting things that they've added to Cosmelan is this amazing complex patent and design by Mesoaesthetic called Cosmazone. Now, Cosmazone is like a liposome, but more flexible in that it not just keeps those ingredients stable, but it encapsulates them in a form and allows them to penetrate to that epidermal dermal junction and basal layer of that epidermis, where these amazing bioflavonoids, collagen and fluoretin, can be released to do anti-aging as well as depigmenting actions on the skin. And this really excited me. Melaphenone is a molecule. That's right, a molecule that mesoaesthetic created for Dermamelan a couple of years back. And they have now added it to cosmelan. And what amazes me about this molecule is been designed to compete against trisinase. So now when it goes to work, it is going to trick that trisin and lock in and going to give you beautiful results for depigmentation. And the way this molecule is also designed, it is going to be a superior ingredient for anti-aging. Now, cosmelan, as I said, is a dual action treatment, corrective as well as regulating. And as you can see at the surface and throughout all the layers of the skin, it's going to use that autophagy action to eliminate and rid the skin of melanin in those skin cells. It's going to do this with some beautiful acids, including AHAs and BHAs. It also has your retinols and your retin palmitate. This is going to also work at the level of that factory called the melanocyte. So it's not just going to clear the top, it's going to teach that factory to produce the right amount of melanin, reducing that oxidized stress, eliminating that anxiety in that melanozone that causes the overproduction. Of course, it's also going to work epigenetically by reducing those gene expressions on the enzymes that activate melanogenesis. So we're not just working within that factory. Now we're working and switching off and switching on different reactivators in that skin, promoting a healthier balance of melanogenesis and reducing that overstimulation. And we're doing this with many of the same ingredients that it once had, but now we're introducing some more effective and amazing ingredients to this process. And as I said, not only is cosmelan superior at ridding and controlling pigmentation, but it also helps with those changes in the skin that happen with photo damage. You see, one of the reasons why Mesoaesthetic reformulated cosmelan is because of the new evidence that came up with melasma. Studies have shown that histological characteristics of melasma are just like that of skin that has photo aging concerns. And we think about a photo age skin, we think of a skin that now has loss of density. Its dermal epidermal barrier has changed. And now pigmentation can even go below that junction and into the dermis. We have pigmentation, we have loss of flaccidity, thickening of that epidermis, but thinning of that epidermal part of our skin. So when they reproduced that cosmelan formulation, they wanted to ensure that we are going to target this area not just for melanin production, but also for the overall health and anti-aging effect on the skin. And that cosmosome can do that. It works on that epigenetic function at those enzymes, as well as that collagen and elastin production in the fibroblasts. It is going to decrease those MMPs in the skin that break down the collagen. And it's going to increase the production of T1 key one that is going to promote collagen and get rid of those MMPs. And at the same time, it's doing the clearance on the top. So Cosmozone is going to work on every layer of the what I love about it, but it's going to anti-age me at the same time. Here it shows some beautiful science on how well melaphenone works on oxidized stress in the skin. Every cell of our body just wants to be happy and stable and do its job. That's all they want. But when we introduce oxidized stress, whether it's from eating or exposing ourselves to UV damage, that cell, and it is no longer stable or happy. When we add our melaphenone to that oxidized stress in the cell, you can see it manages that stress, stabilizes that cell, and now it can go back to work happy and go lucky. Not only that, melaphenone, as I mentioned, is beautiful for all that damage, that glycation damage that happens when we bring it into our skin. And here is another beautiful science image to show you how well melaphenol takes that glycated and paralyzed fibroblasts, no longer able to work. It's all glunked up with that glycation matter. Add the melaphenol to that glycated fibroblast, and now you can see that cell is viable again. To unique formula and melaphenol, each on their own, bringing down that synthesis of melanin by 47% with cosmazole. And melaphenol on its own, because it's blocking that trisinase, it reduces its activity by 56%. And with our other gorgeous anti-aging ingredients, you've got your A's, you've got your B's, you've got your C's and E's. Everything that skin needs as a cocktail to anti-age and control pigmentation. And here are the results on skin. Here you can see a tissue from the epidermis that has been stimulated with your trisinase to get melanogenesis started. And you can see within 8 days, it really gave that skin a run for its money. Those melanocytes are very active. Dendrites are fully working, and accumulation of pigmentation within the surface of that epidermis. They took that tissue that was treated and stimulated with the trisinase and added the cosmelan treatment to it. And within those 8 days, it has reduced significantly the activity of those melanocytes. It's clearing and breaking down that congestion and accumulation of melanin within the layers, autophagy, bringing it up and out and clearing it. And that shows a 90% reduction within that controlled cell culture of the effects of cosmelan. And I am so excited to pass the baton on to Luis, who's going to show us how exactly cosmelan is going to do that and which of the beautiful products is allowing this 90% reduction of melanin synthesis within that culture. Luis, take
Hello,
it
everyone, and
away.
welcome to the future of medical innovation. This is our new cosmelan. So for everyone, now the cosmelan pack, you will identify it because of the hologram that is on the right top corner of the pack. It will include, again, the same. We have the degreasing solution, our cosmelan 1 mask, cosmelan 2, our melan recovery, and our melan sunscreen 50 plus. This new formulation has new ingredients. It has been reformulated, and now the benefits are even better. As Pina mentioned before, we have the melaphenone that is going to inhibit tyrosinase. We have our cosmosome that is also an encapsulated complex, and it's going to deliver the products and the ingredients even better into the skin. We have hesperidine, which is a natural occurring flavonoid with antioxidants and anti-inflammatory effects, as well as our retinol that, as we all know, increases our cellular turnover, is going to reduce the epidermal melanin, and it's going to inhibit tyrosinase as well, and it's going to produce collagen. That's one of our best anti-agents out there. There is also some hexyresorcinol, which is a brightening agent. We have retinal palmitate that enhances cellular turnover as well, and it's going to brighten the skin. We have our phytic acid that exfoliates and brightens the skin, and it's going to reduce free radical damage. Kojic acid, that, as we all know, it is a lightening agent as well, and it blocks UV activation of tyrosinase. And our famous salicylic acid that is going to exfoliate, it's going to have lightening, and it's also an anti-inflammatory, which is so important for this kind of treatment. We have our ascorbyl magnesium, which is our protection against photoaging, and niacinamide, which is also a very good anti-inflammatory lightening agent, and I would say protects the skin as well. These are, well, those are the new ingredients that are now in the cosmelan. Now the protocol, it is very similar, but it's different from our last protocol. But we still have our in-cabin protocol, that it's our oil solution, oil removing solution, and then our cosmelan one. Now, what is the difference here? When you have a patient with moderate pigmentation, but they have dry or skin sensitivity, we will only leave the mask on for 6 hours. Now, for the rest of the patients, either if the pigmentation is moderate or severe, and if their skin is normal, combination, or oily, we will leave it on for 8 hours. We will, after that, the patient is going to remove the mask just with a cleanser and water, lots of water. Now, another of differences with this treatment is that for the next 7 days, we're only going to use melan recovery and sunscreen. Now, our melan sunscreen 50 plus. We will use melan recovery 3 times a day or as needed. If the patient is having a lot of irritation, a lot of dryness, they can apply the melan recovery as many times as they would like to. And we have to reapply our sunscreen every 2 to 3 hours. Even if they stay at home, we are still getting a lot of UV light and blue light from our devices. So it's very important to reapply the sunscreen even if you are at home. Now, for those patients that are having a lot of irritation, a lot of flakiness, we can also calm their skin with our anti-stress mask, We can use it 2 times a week or more often if they need to. During this time that they have the mask, they will have a little bit of tingling sensation or slightly itching, which is totally normal, and it should subside within less than an hour, I would say. I haven't had any patient where the tingling or the burning stays there 8 hours. It will just be at the beginning. Then we have our supporting products for this amazing treatment. Melon Recovery is one of my favorite ones. It's going to help soothe and restore the sensitive skin and reddened skin. It has a soothing action, but it also has a regulatory capacity because our anti-inflammatory. So it's going to help the skin not to get any post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation. This is a quite strong treatment, so it is also really good to support the treatment with an anti-inflammatory with a soothing balm. It's going to combat the reactive manifestations such as I said, redness, irritation, and sensitivity. It's going to help with pigment control by reducing the oxidative stress related to the appearance of spots, and it's also hypoallergenic. It is suitable for all skin types. We also have as our supporting product in our cosmelan pack, our Melon Sunscreen 50 Plus. Even though it's 50 plus, we have a protection of up to 130. So we have a very high sun protection of 131 UVB and 67 UVA. It's also going to protect us against the high energy visible light. That is our blue light that comes from our phones, from our laptops, from the TVs. We need protection of that as well. It is also going to help regulate pigmentation by reducing the activity of enzymes such as tyrosinase. We have an ingredient called azelloglycine. So it's not only going to protect the skin from the UV rays, but it's also going to help regulate pigmentation. That's why I always emphasize that it's so important to stick to our products because they all work synergistically. It's also a very light texture. It has a little bit of tint, but it's a universal shade. So it's going to work from Fitzpatrick 1 to 6. Another of our supporting products, we have the anti-stress mask, which it has aloe vera, it has marinus extract, and urban detox. This mask is an intensive mask that soothes and relieves the skin with redness and sensitivity. So for those patients that have a very sensitive skin, patients with a lot of redness and a little bit of rosacea, we can also use this anti-stress mask to help calm down the skin. It will act on the signs of the inflammatory response of the skin from the treatment. Now, after those 7 days have passed, that's when we will start using our cosmelan 2, which is our continuous depigmentation and regulation system. The difference from the old protocol is that we will only use cosmelan 2 morning and night after the 7 days of removing the mask. Our cosmelan 2, it has the same ingredients as the cosmelan 1, but in a reduced concentration and a much lower concentration. It's since with the treatment with the mask, we're going to correct. With this one, we're going to regulate. So it's going to continue the pigmenting on a daily basis. At the same time, it has not only the depigmentation properties, but the anti-aging properties as well with our anti-glycation actions. Again, the protocol will say to apply twice a day, morning and night, but for some people that have a lot of sensitivity, we can also start using once a night. Now, what's going to be our patient experience? And this is very important so we can guide our clients as well. Now, they're going to have erythema, which is redness and burning, from the day 0 up to day 15. At that point, day 15, our erythema is going to start decreasing. Now, at the beginning, we will have some desquamation, some itchiness, and some tightening. And up to day 15 is going to be there, but it's not too noticeable, but it will stay for the most of our treatment. We know that the cosmelan 2 has really good ingredients, but we also have a lot of retinol in there and a lot of active ingredients that it's going to speed up the cellular turnover. It's going to clean that pigmentation, and it's going to exfoliate. So it is normal that we have some peeling or desquamation during the treatment. We pass now for our cosmelan support products. It is very important, and I always tell my clients, as long as we are in this treatment, let's stick with our mesoaesthetic products. So we have an amazing face cleanser, our Hydro Cream Fusion. It has ingredients that are going to calm the skin, and it is perfectly designed to work with cosmelan treatment. It is ultra lightweight water gel serum, and it have a triple complex. So it will have our hyaluronic acid densimatrix complex, which is a combination of 4 forms of hyaluronic acid of various molecular weights with an active ingredient that enhances skin natural production. This cleanser is going to remove oil, and it's going to clean the skin without being too harsh. We also have our hyaluronic acid densimatrix, which is going to help with hydration for people that get very dehydrated during the treatment. And even after the treatment, is one of my favorite products to use. We have our Hydra Vital Mask, which is another hydration option. This is something that you can do a few times a week just to replenish the skin with lots of hydration. It's going to help a lot also during our process. Our Hydra Vital Factor K. I like this one as again, it is a much richer moisturizing cream to help restore the hydrolipid film, and it's going to provide 24 hours of hydration. One of my favorites is a skin balance for those patients that have very sensitive skin. Pina like to call this the 911, and I love it. I have rosacea. It really matches the treatment perfectly. For people with sensitive skin, with reddened skin, they can add this to their routine to help calm down.
And Louise, wouldn't you agree that you don't need a whole dropper? You need like 4 or 5 drops.
4 or 5
Like,
drops is enough to cover
so
your
far.
face and your neck. Yeah,
Yeah, it's amazing.
now, I this one is also one of my favorites, the fast skin repair. I love doing treatments on myself, and I'm always peeling. This fast skin repair is going to help those patients that have a very busy lifestyle that they cannot afford be peeling for the 6 months that they are on the treatment. So they can use this cream to um, calm the skin, but also hydrated moisturizer, and it's going to help with excess flaking. Now, with this treatment, we recommend the patients to be on the protocol for 6 months. After those 6 months have passed, we can give the Cosmelan 2 a break, and instead of the Cosmelan 2, we can use our depigmenting treatments such as the Melantrans concentrate and the Melantrans gel cream. After you're done with the Cosmelan 2 for 6 months, it's recommended to stop for at least a few months. During those few months, you can use these products to maintain the results, especially with people with melasma, that, as we all know, it will come back if we don't use any kind of pigment inhibitor at home. We can use our Melantrans concentrate every night and our Melantrans gel cream twice a day, morning and night. The main ingredients of these two products is tranexamic acid, and we have also niacinamide, hydroxy acid complex. So it's all pigment inhibitors that is going to help regulate the melanin. Now, again, for some patients who after we give her a break with the Melan Trans products, they can go back to the Cosmelan too. I really like it, and some patients will stay on it because it's not only, again, the pigmentation, but it will also give you a really good anti-aging. It's going to help skin texture. You will see that your skin is smooth. It's not dull anymore. It has brightened. There is vitamin C, we have vitamin A, we have vitamin E. We have so many products in this cream that is going to make our skin look flawless. Now, we do need to prepare the skin before we get into this treatment. As we know, Cosmelan, it is an intensive treatment. So we recommend to treat the skin 2 weeks prior with a skin rating 0.3. Even though the name is 0.3, it is actually a concentration of 1% because we have a 0.7% of bakuchiol, which is our retinol derived from plants. So ideally, our patient should be using a skin retin for 2 weeks before doing the treatment. Or if we have a patient with very sensitive skin, they should be using it for 1 month prior and then stop at least 3 to 4 days before doing Cosmelan. Now, what is the difference between the original formula and now the reformulated formula? We start with the mask exposure time. With the old Cosmelan, it was 8 to 12 hours. With the new Cosmelan, it's now 6 to 8 hours. Now, the beginning of the home protocol before used to be 48 to 72 hours. This time is going to be 7 days. I always recommend my patients, if you get to the day 7 and you still see a little bit of sensitivity, your skin is still burning a little bit, let's wait a few more days until your skin is fine. The total treatment time is still 6 months, but now the phases, it is not as before, there used to be 4, now it's only 2. And the application of the Cosmelan 2, if you guys remember, used to be the first month 3 times, the second month twice, not anymore. That's too complicated for your patients, too complicated for you. Now it's 2 times a day for the whole 6 months.
Nice and easy.
These are some before and after of our patients at day 150. As you see, the changes are just incredible.
And she's still got a month to go. Here's her
Look
side.
at that. That's
amazing.
These are
I love how
most of our patients with melasma and sun damage. Look at that. That's only at day 90. So
yeah, she's only halfway through her treatment. And again, wherever that pigmentation sits, if it's at the surface, they're going to see those results quicker. And the deeper it is, then here at 180, here's one with really deep melasma there. Still beautiful.
I want to emphasize that this treatment is suitable for all skin types from Fitzpatrick 1 to Fitzpatrick 6, and there is no risk of the pigmentation ever getting worse. I've never seen it, never experienced that, so it is an amazing treatment for all patients.
And yes, to conclude, Louise said it, it is an amazing treatment for all skins. It does that unique dual action. So it is doing that corrective process, just like all the other devices and treatments out there, but it is going to regulate that action. It's going to keep it at bay. Proven results and T-glycation action and powerful anti-aging keeps that reputation of cosmelan